Hello all. So this is just a continuation of parameters, and we have clearly seen how we can make use of parameter along with your bins and along with a calculated field how you can make use of a parameter. We have seen in the previous two sessions. Now that we can make use of the parameter along with your reference lines as well. So there are multiple ways that you can use it for understanding these reference lines. There's nothing much that I have to speak about reference line, but just to recollect what is the meaning of a reference line is, this is something that most of us will make use of it to identify. Suppose if I have my organization, and for my organization, which are all the products is not doing well. Okay, if I have to identify that, I mean the sales is very low. Of course, you can see that with the visualization also. But I just okay, say let's take the scenario like this. There is a classroom, and inside this classroom you will have multiple students, right? Say for example you have around 50 students, and among these 50 students who I mean we have a categories like below average and above average. These set of students are there. We just categorize the students. So when we are categorizing the students, um, what we do is that we just keep a line. Okay, suppose for example 90% is the line that we are keeping it. Any student which is coming above the 90% is going to be an above average student, and anybody who is coming below this 90% line is going to be coming to the other categories. So how do I able to make a distinction between these categories is by with the reference line I can make a distinction. Okay, see, that's the whole idea of why you will have a reference line in your visualization. Okay, so this sort of reference lines is in your visualization will help you uh, understand the visualization in again a better manner. So if in case if you wanted to know more about the reference lines, you can go back and check about the reference lines video as well. We have got a dedicated session wherein we have spoken about how we can create a reference line and what is the meaning of reference lines in the earlier sessions. So but the overall idea of having a reference line is, this is the idea. Now that we know what is a parameter and we know that what is a reference line, we need to make use of these two things, and then I mean and see how this basically works. That's all we are going to cover in this session. So without wasting much of our time, let's get inside our Tableau environment. So when we get inside our Tableau environment, so this is what we are having. See, generally see, most of the use cases that we have to deal with reference lines is something we need to have a margin kind of thing. So since this is basically a superstores data, maybe we will keep the profit margin as something. To keep it as a reference line, let's keep the profit margin basically. So how do I compute the profit margin? I can compute the profit margin by um, dividing the sum of the profit by the sum of the sales. Okay, we have a sum of profit, and from that sum of profit, if I am going to divide by sum of sales, what I'm going to get is a profit margin. Okay, so this is the calculated field that we need to make use of it to draw our reference line basically. All right, so now first let us start creating our calculated field. So this is our calculated field. Okay, so the calculated field that I am going to create is basically a profit margin is the calculated field which I'm creating it. And how do I compute this profit margin is just I will take sum of the profit I will take, and then I'm just going to divide that by sum of sales. Okay, I'm just going to divide that by sum of sales. So that's done. So this is how we can calculate our profit margin, and this is the measure that we are going to use it for drawing our reference line. That's clear. Okay, so now we have our profit margin measure is there with us, and also we can just find out for subcategories or the categories. We can just find out the I mean, we can do the visualization, after which we'll go for the reference lines. So we have the measure called as a profit margin, and I have dragged that profit margin measure to our columns. So I just wanted to see the profit margin with respect to the subcategories. So let me just put the subcategories here. So you're able to see now the profit margin, and also the, I mean, it is giving in 0.0510, and like this it is giving me the values. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to you know first thing is I just have to draw a reference line for this, right? So what I have to do is I'll just go to my analytics, and then there is a reference line here. So you can drop it in any of these things, table, pane, or cell, any of these things you can drop it. As soon as you drop it, what happens is this window comes in. Okay. So this window is very important because this is where you're going to edit the line. And for this reference line only, you're going to add the parameter. Okay. So now that you have, you just have got this one. And now what is the problem is that for me, this reference line will not work, but I will show you the steps how it will, I mean, to make it work, how you have to do it, that I will do it, because I have a limited features here. So that's why I'm unable to show you that, but I have kept the screenshot for you to keep things handy. Okay. So now this is the, I mean, this is the dialog box that you will get. See here, when you see here, there is a value. Once you click on this, you will have the multiple options here. Along with this, you will have one more option called as a create new parameter. Like this, it will be there. Okay. So like this, it will be there. So see this clearly. Now you can see here, along with these parameters, you have an option called as create a new parameter. Okay. But I do not have this option. However, just click on this create a new parameter. What it is going to do is that it is going to take me to the parameter. Okay. So you can give the name for the parameter, and then you can specify your data type. And then what is the current value? You can just select it from here. And then if you want it as a list, your parameter to be as a list, you can decide, say that this is in the list or in a range, anything you want to select it, you can select it. Okay. So this is one option which we will not be able to show, but I have showed you in the form of a screenshot. Okay. So now we do not have an option to add an parameter. Okay. And so anyways, the reference line is working. Only problem what we will be facing is that for this reference line, when we are adding the parameter, we will be facing the issues. All right, that's not a big concern, just because of the reason that it is not available, it isn't working. All right, now what I can do is that the same options that I showed you there, right? um yeah, so just if I will click on my yeah, just there is a profit margin was there, right? Where, yeah, there is a profit margin here. So for this, if I will try to create a parameter, okay, or otherwise I will try to create a parameter from here, what is the option I'm getting is that this is the option I'm getting. Okay. So I can create a parameter from here also. The same thing we are trying to do it, and data type is float. It is there. So let me just give the same name as profit margin goal. That was the name which was there in the screenshot. So I can just select this, and if I would give it as a list, then I can just give the values also. See, wherever it is there as 0.35, I can display that as, I just wanted to display that as 35%. And similarly, if you have 0. Yeah, if you have a 0.45, you can give that as a 45%. And this is what was written over there. Okay, so just I'm trying to show you that, that's all. And then I'm just going to create 0.55, then it is going to be 55%. Okay, it's going to be 55%. Okay, done. Now this is the parameter that we have created, and it is showing the current value as 35. And also it's like, all other things are fine. Now let us just click on OK. Okay, so this is the parameter just to show you, and this parameter is also created. Okay, now if I have to, show the parameter, and the parameter is shown as you can see here, 35, 45 and 55, it is shown here. Okay, but you are not able to make out the changes just because of the reason that when we created from this from when we added to a reference line, there itself you should get a option like creating a parameter. So if you could have made use of that option and created the parameter, this is the same thing that you are going to get it, but you can see the dynamism over which is happening here, and also this changes would be reflected. Okay, so that's the only difference here. Yeah, so let me just put one more time the reference line, and then probably we will try to select this parameter which we have created. And yeah, now you can see that the variation is already happening. So this is one more way we can actually use it. So 35 and the 45%, if you could see, yeah, it is showing as 45. And then 55%, if you could see, it is showing it as 55%. All right, so now the reference line with the parameters is working. So I showed you both the options. So in case if you are getting this add field here like this, create a new parameter, you can directly do that. Otherwise you just create a parameter, after which then you go to your reference lines, then you can add it. By that way your parameter is also working. Okay, so this is one thing that you could do. And in case if you wanted to do some kind of coloring or something with respect to the visualization that you have, you can also do that. So what you can do is, let me just create another calculated field. Like for example, let me just create a calculated field, and I will just specify this. Let me just give it as uh, profit goal. Okay, and then I'll just say profit margin is there, right? Yeah, profit margin. If the profit margin is going to be greater than or equal to, then what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to set the profit margin goal. I mean, this is the profit goal. Okay, yeah, this is the parameter that I have created. Yeah, profit margin goal is the parameter that is created. All right, so now click on OK. Now let us do one thing. This profit goal, let's take it here. Okay, let me just drop this. Okay, so let me just put this profit margin itself, and then yeah, profit goal is just, I'll put it here, and then let me just do the coloring. Yeah, you can see now. Okay, so wherever it is true, and if it is false, then it is going to show me the difference in colors. And also when it is changed to 45%, you can see everything is profit goal is false. And when it is changed to 55% also, everything is false. So only with the 35% you can see there is a profit goal is true and false, both the things are there. So this will help you to, by you can see that you can actually do the kind of highlighting also. Okay, but this is specifically definitely not related to parameters, but it's just an opportunity to know how even the color of your marks can lead the report user into the story what you're going to tell. Okay, so that's about the reference lines, and this is how the reference line for your parameters is going to work. Okay, I hope you got an idea of how the parameters in reference line is working, and we will see how it is going to work in filters and sets in the next session. So that's all I have for this session. Thank you.